forget to subscribe to my channel, and while you're at it, click the bell to be notified of future videos. This block is called Squiggle, and Squiggle is a combination of squirm and wiggle. I'm giving you instructions for two different size blocks, 4x8 and 6x12 finished. Here's what the block looks like. Here's the diagram. We have 4 half square triangles and 4 squares in this block. Here are some different ways you can lay them out as in a quilt. This is side by side, and this is offset, and I'm going to show you how to do both of those. The first section up here is for the 4x8 finished block, and then the second section is for the 6x12 finished block. And I'm doing the 4x8 finished in the demo, but they're all the same thing. Patch A is a 2-inch finished half square triangle. We cut 2 7/8 inch squares, cut them in half once on the diagonal for 2 patches. Sometimes there's some confusion about what is exactly a patch. Here is a patch, and if you take and cut a square, this was cut with the folded corner clippers, so this is out. But if you take a square 2 7/8 inches and you cut it in half on the diagonal once, you get 2 patches. And each patch is half of the half square triangle. So for this block, you'll need 4 patches of the background and the accent fabric. If you want to make the half square triangles 2 at a time, you'll cut the squares like this, but you will not subcut them. So if you want to do that, you'll cut 2 squares from the background and 2 squares from the accent fabric. Patch B is a 2-inch finished square. We cut 2 1/2 inch squares, and we'll need 2 patches for each. Here are the AccuQuilt dies that will cut these shapes. And we have exactly the same thing down here, only a larger size. 3-inch finished half square triangle and 3-inch finished square. Here are the AccuQuilt dies that will cut these. All we're going to do is make the half square triangles, then put the block together. Before we do the half square triangles, I wanted to mention something to you. If you want to do the 4x8 inch finished, and you have a 2 1/2 inch wide strip that's at least 12 inches wide, you can cut one of the accent fabrics for one block. So I fold it in half. It doesn't matter if it's wrong sides or right sides together, and trim off the edge. We need 2 squares, so we'll cut those off first. So here are the 2 squares. And if you have the folded corner clipper ruler, you can cut your 4 triangle patches. You just lay it on the 2 1/2 inch mark and cut. And then there are 2 here. And then flip the ruler over and cut your second set. And here are all the patches you need to make one of the 4x8 unit. That's with the folded corner clipper and at least a 12-inch strip of 2 1/2 inch. So if you have leftover jelly rolls, you can cut these up this way. This is exactly how I cut mine. So let's look at what we have here. Here's our patch A, which are the half square triangles. If you're cutting patches, you'll simply put 2 together like this. Flip this over, and you match all 3 sides, stitch 1/4 inch, and press your seams open, and you will have 4 half square triangles. So we'll do those. Now we have our 4 half square triangles made. If you prefer to use the 2 at a time method, stay tuned for a short tutorial that shows you how to do that. On the back side of the light fabric, we're going to draw a diagonal line, put the fabrics together, right sides together, and we're going to stitch on either side of the diagonal line. Here is the diagonal line drawn, and then the stitching on both sides. Now we cut this in half along the diagonal line. Then we have our 2 half square triangles. Press the seams open and cut off the nubs. Next, we just follow the diagram. Follow this diagram to put the block together. And for my backgrounds, I used low volume prints. and then you simply put these together. I stitched these two together, so I stitched 4 rows, press the seams, and then stitch the rows together. We're just going to stitch these together and these together because I want to show you how to do the offset layout. Here are the 2 pieces, and if you'll notice, they're exactly the same. You just flip them over and that's what you get. So we're going to leave these separate right now. Here are some other blocks I did, and if you were setting these block to block, you would just sew them together like this. Sew them into rows first and then sew your rows together. Also, if you don't want to use the same fabric for each block, you can go scrappy. You can say do a green block with all different kind of greens, blue, red. You can do it that way, but I just chose to do it one fabric with all of them. This is how you do the side-by-side layout. If you want to do the offset layout, you'll take one of these and you'll piece it halfway like we did here. So here's how it would be. We're going to take the bottom one and put it at the top. And then we'll take a full one and finish off with full ones. So you can see they're offset. If you reach the bottom here, you would put that's the bottom, so this will be the top. You would put this one like that. You can see it. And then you do a straight row like this, and I would piece these in vertical rows. Then your next row would be like this. It would be the bottom part goes at the top and the top part goes at the bottom, and that's how you lay those out. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and while you're at it, click the bell to be notified of future videos.